Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. It's time to let go of negative thinking, understand why you do what you do and stop the self-sabotage with your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, your resident subconscious success mentor, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. If you want to stop self-sabotaging your own success and let go of the stress, then you are in the right place, my friend. Make sure you download your free Stressed to Success guided meditation at bit.ly/stress to success as my little gift to you just for being here. Please do subscribe, share and review. It really, really helps people that need to hear this message find us, and I so appreciate it. In the show notes, you'll also find details of how you can work with me and where you can get your mitts on my meditations, products, printables, programs. You can find it through the link in my bio on Instagram, which is my favorite place to hang out. So please do come join me over there at I'm Fran Excel. Tag me in your takeaways, slide into my DMs. I'm here for it. So that's the formalities over, my love. So let's jump to the content. Is the perseverance worth it? Is that feeling of trundling through, wading through treacle to get what you think you want or what you used to want, is that still the right thing for you? Sometimes we find ourselves keeping on in situations that actually might really just not be right for us. We may feel tired, anxious, low, beaten down, and yet we keep going. It's so easy to just keep going with something and just try to ignore any negative feelings that you might be having. And also really not taking a deep dive into what those thoughts and feelings might really mean. This is one of the many reasons why I'm always banging on about self-awareness and why it's so important, and building that neural pathway where you question your thoughts, beliefs and behaviours and why you might be doing something. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong for you at all. It could mean any number of things, but it might be a clear indicator that something needs addressing. And we do this in all areas of our lives: careers, relationships, friendships, our businesses, where we're living, our environment, etc., etc. We often just keep going instead of analysing if something is really working for us. Do we still want this thing that we wanted when we started? And it can feel like flogging a dead horse sometimes. But often that isn't enough to get you to really look at it. You might still be following a path in your business that someone else told you was the right thing. You might be in a relationship and notice that you're unhappy more than you're happy. You might be in a career and your feelings and values have shifted and it just doesn't align for you anymore. But this is the thing with being human, right? And growth being part of that. It means we're constantly growing and evolving, and we change. Our outlook changes, our perspective changes, what we want changes, our views on what we think is right and wrong shifts, our needs shift, our attitudes shift, and what we find important. It's totally normal to feel like things are off. And I genuinely hear so many business owners talking about this. I'm not just talking about this at all in the context of business, but it's something I hear all the time. And it is totally normal to feel like things are off when you take all of this into account, right? Society has this thing about praising longevity a lot of the time, which keeps people moving in a direction that's not right for them anymore. Longevity has absolutely nothing to do with happiness. And it's a really important distinction to make. The real flex is being able to say, it's inconvenient, but this is not what I want anymore. And then doing something about it. That's the brave part. That's when you'll inspire other people. Not sticking at something when you're not happy. What's that teaching everyone around you? You know, being able to ask yourself, am I staying in this situation or on this path because I think I should? And what or who is making me feel that way? You know the saying, change only happens when the pain of staying where you are outweighs the pain of the change itself. And it's so true. We often have to reach that point where it's almost unbearable to stay where we're at. It's only then that we start going, hang on, what the fudge is going on here? Right? And then the question quickly turns to, and what can I do about it? And how do we get there without having to reach that point? It all comes back to asking yourself great questions, which is a skill and one that you can actually quickly develop. And this is where journaling is so helpful, along with working with someone like a coach, a therapist, or a counselor, where they can help you fast track the process, where you get used to the idea of prompts and questions and challenging yourself. And the better questions that you learn to ask yourself, the more you'll be able to identify if sticking with something and persevering is worth it for you in the long run. You'll be able to identify if it's actually the right thing for you, but it's just going to take some time and it's difficult and that feels uncomfortable, versus not moving on due to sunk cost fallacy. Make sure you scroll down for an episode I did specifically on that. So here's a few questions for you to journal and or ponder on to get those cogs ticking. And feel free to do this in each of the key areas of your life, so work, relationships, friendships, etc. Here we go. Are you happy right now where you're at? Can you see yourself being happy in the future following this same path? Does it still excite you? And if it does, what excites you about it? What's right about the situation? What is working for you and why? And funnily enough, the next one is what's wrong about the situation? What really isn't working for you and why? And how would the alternative feel? How do you feel if you think about not being in the situation anymore? Are there any stories that are important about what comes up for you there? And what are the potential positive possibilities if you take a different path? Obviously, feel free to pause these and come back to this episode as well. Next one is, what are the stories about what is negative about not continuing down this path? As in, what are you making it mean about yourself? What are you making it mean for other people? What are you making it mean in the context of society? Next, what are the feelings you have when you think of staying on this path or in this situation? And when you think about that, notice how it feels in your body and where you can feel it. Can you name it? Can you name what emotions are coming up for you? And what are the feelings you have when you think about not staying in this situation? What do you feel in your body then? You might notice relief. You might notice fear. What do you notice? Then ask yourself, when I imagine myself in 1 year or 5 years into the future staying on this path or in this situation, how am I feeling? Am I happy? And once you've gone through all of these, then comes the big question. What can I do about it? What do I want to do about it? And what will I do about it? And then future pace that too. And how do you feel? Life is always leaving us clues, right? But we need to ask ourselves better questions, dig a little deeper and discover the truth beyond our conditioning, right? Beyond our nervous system stories, because a whole world of magic lives there. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's always pretty on the way. It's absolutely not. But the question is it worth it?
So if you got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and start changing things for yourself, then join the Positive Pants Toolkit app and community so you can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. And if you want my eyes and ears on your problems, then I work with people one-on-one and through my programs. You can find all the details to join the toolkit or book in a call in the show notes, the link in my bio on Instagram, and on my website, franexcel.com. So stop waiting for if and when and choose to change things now, because you can. I'm here to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And as always, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you next week. Bye.